I'm very grateful for the experience. Unfortunately, the way I got it wasn't the way I wanted it to go. Obviously, I had fantastic guys that were playing the position, but we always at Ohio State we always say competitive excellence. You got to make the play on your numbers called. So when my number was called to play tackle, I went into it with the best mentality I could to say if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the best of my ability. Showing off my versatility a little bit, showing that I can I can play anywhere on the line. So I'm grateful for the experience.
What kind of feedback have you gotten this week, about your versatility and have teams, told you they want to tackle, guard? What have they kind of said about that?
Most teams say that we want you inside. And I mean, I played that position for a majority of my career, but a lot of teams were, you know, um, I would say, had a good impression of me playing different positions throughout the line. If I had a presence between guard or tackle, I have a. I like just playing offensive line. I like playing anywhere on the line.
What did that experience make you better playing at left tackle? You went up against some pretty good edge rushers in that stretch. So how did that benefit you as a player?
Yeah, I feel like it benefited me a lot in terms of I'll say different aspects of my game, whether it be feet, hand usage, working out in space. Because there are other times at guard where if you're at guard, there's still gonna be a DN on you. Like guys can come out in a rushman package or sack package or anything like that. So I think the experience helped in terms of how I view the game. Yeah, so when Josh initially got hurt, and then Zen Mahalski went in when he unfortunately got hurt as well, Coach Fry came up to me. He was like, "Look, man, like I know we always joke because we always joked about, oh, you're gonna have to play tackle." I was like, "No, I'm not." But but when the conversation finally came, like, "Look, like we need you to kick out the tackle for this big week, playing a big team." So it was a lot to think about. He weighed the pros and the cons of the decision, but at the end of the day, like I just like winning more than anything else, and I felt like if me moving outside would help us win because I think this happened around like week 7, so there's still a lot of football ahead of us. So I just like winning more than anything else. So I knew that I had a lot of work to do, and I practiced against 2 amazing edge rushers every day, so I had no choice but to get better.
You talk about how winning means everything to you. We have a lot of Ohio State. What does it mean for you not to be a Buckeye and be able to bring a national championship?
Yeah, being a Buckeye meant everything to me. Growing up, my parents, growing up in Texas at least, my parents always asked me, "Are you like two?" There are 2 major teams in Texas, but my parents are like, "Nah." Like my mom's a huge Ohio State fan. She's like, "Nah, you're a Buckeye," and I was like, "Oh, okay, mom." But then eventually the time came for me to make a college decision. I chose Ohio State, and scarlet and gray means everything to me. The university, the state, the guys I played with, I bled with, sweated with, cried with. It means everything. It's so deep in my heart, deep ingrained in my heart that my time at Ohio State was a huge development factor in who I am today.
Did you feel like your game works nationally? So, YMCA team, gap scheme,
I feel like we ran a lot of inside and gap scheme this year, but in years past, especially my sophomore year, we ran a lot of outside zone as well. So all schemes I feel like I excel pretty well in. There's not one that sticks out more than the other. I just have fun playing football, just balling with my bros on the line.
Did you meet the Seahawks this week?
I did.
How'd that conversation go?
I went really well. The coaching staff was, I would say, amazing. We just had a great conversation and just talk ball. I think it was really cool.
Did you meet with the Steelers?
I did not.
How about the Buccaneers? Have you met with them?
Nah.
What teams have you had?
What teams have I had?
Yeah.
Seattle, Detroit, Minnesota. I'm missing one on that first day. Seattle, Detroit, Minnesota. Then Chicago, Arizona. I could pull out my phone and tell you. I had I think I had like total of 15.
Who's a player you really respect on the offensive line? Like your game?
In the league?
Yeah.
I respect obviously guys who do it at a high level and do it very efficiently. So at the guards, you can't go wrong with Zach Martin, his illustrious career that he's had, and the way he carried the position to where it is today. Chris Lindstrom, very physical guard, and he really gets after it. And then tackles, you got to go with, Trent, Deion Dawkins. He's advocating for the position. Love that. You got to go with Lane and Mailata, two monsters on the edge who hold it down for the Eagles. There's so many good linemen in the league that are elevating and, putting the spotlight on the position offensive line.
Do you think your time at tackle ultimately helped to start to shape the way teams see you?
Yeah, I mean, I think my time at tackle certainly didn't hurt. It shows that my versatility a little bit, shows my athleticism as well. So I feel like it certainly helped.
Who are some of the younger guys that are kind of filling in, at Ohio State for the guys that are leaving? We saw Luke play a big role down the stretch. Who are some guys that maybe we haven't seen a ton of yet that are having a good season this upcoming year?
Yeah, so the guys haven't seen. Obviously, Luke balled out in the playoffs. I just know he's going to continue it throughout the season. Carson stepped in when we had other injuries and, didn't miss a beat. Tegra had a great first year, and I know he's just going to continue to grow. But guys we haven't seen, I think Josh Padilla is going to be really good. Josh Padilla, Ian Moore. Ian Moore's a guy who, near the end of his freshman year, started to figure it out, and you can see him starting to figure it out throughout practice. I feel like he's going to have a really good career at Ohio State.
Donovan, were you surprised that the guard rotation worked as well as it did?
No. I wasn't surprised. I knew what all those guys are capable of. I think when I realized that, oh my gosh, this is really gonna work for sure. Like when we first introduced the guard rotation, like guys coming in and out in practice, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like the guys gotta get a rhythm here. But when we were playing Tennessee and like I was playing next to Saraveld, I was playing next to Luke, and both those guys were just balling. I was like, man, this is a great idea. Like, I believed in this from the start. But yeah, I mean, like all those guys that rotated in to help us win obviously the big one at the end. They had played an amazing job playing top-notch football.
Why did it work?
Why did it work? Because especially speaking as offensive line, we just played with a chip on our shoulder. Every game we just remembered where we were at the end of the season, and every game we just kept reminding ourselves what people said about us. I believe when we were announced for the playoffs, people were like, oh man, that Tennessee front's going to run through Ohio State's offensive line. And so that and then other people were saying, man, I really hope they don't have a home game in the shoe because they're going to boo the Buckeyes out of there. So just those clips were just running through our head, just cycling through and through to the point where just we knew we had to play better.
Donovan, do you have a favorite moment, memory from that championship run?
Besides the confetti falling at the end, I would have to say I would say the Cotton Bowl. That was a fantastic team we went against. We knew coming into that game it was going to be a fight. So just coming out of that fight, on top was a huge thing for our team. And going into the next game, just gaining more confidence.
Winning in your home state, making it a little extra special?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Being back home in Texas, man, it was a great feeling.
Why do you think the scoop is
Look back on that Penn State game, just the test you had immediately with that.
Yeah, I mean, I look back on it and see how much I've grown from then. I had a 4 days notice to learn how to play tackle. So I know just seeing how I set, seeing how I did everything then to now, I sometimes look back on it and see, just kind of appreciate how much I've grown and just renew myself of there's still so much to do.
How important was that game for the offensive line, just in general, dealing with the adversity, getting through, winning that game for coach?
Yeah, it was huge for us, obviously, as a team to win that game. Obviously, a great opponent that we went against, but it was big for the offensive line, especially down the stretch in the fourth quarter with our heels essentially in their end zone to drive the ball out and try to run the clock out to win the game.
Donovan, go back to the Cotton Bowl. What was going through your mind during the scoop and score? And do you think that ended up being one of the best plays of the year, not just Ohio State, but college football in general?
Yeah, I initially didn't know what was going on. We were on the sideline preparing to, run a quick 4-minute drill. So Coach Fry was, drawing up plays and trying to talk us through some of the looks. And then we just hear the crowd go crazy. I look up and Jack Sawyer's running down the sideline, and I was like, no way! Like we were all freaking out. Jack Sawyer is one of those guys where kind of cemented himself in Ohio State history, and that couldn't have happened to any better guy. He kind of ran the show, especially in the playoffs, of making sure everyone's on the same page before the season, calling everybody, making sure we all get on board of coming back. So it couldn't happen to a much better guy. Captain Jack Sawyer.
Where did you see Josh Simmons' growth from 2023 to 2024? Where did you think that biggest growth came from?
His biggest growth was just, he's always been a freak. We always knew he was a freak athlete. He can jump out the gym as fast as lightning and is strong as an ox. But his biggest growth was just overall, going through football. Not in a bad sense, but his biggest growth was just having confidence in what he was doing. We had a gigantic playbook and a lot of different looks, a lot of different plays. We played against, obviously, in the Big Ten, a lot of different players, a lot of different fronts. And so just the more he played, the more confidence he got. When the more confidence he got, the faster he got. And so he just dominated out there for the reps he was out there.
What would you tell NFL teams about Seth McLaughlin and why they should draft him?
Seth McLaughlin's a field general. We wouldn't have started the way we did without Seth McLaughlin. I'll tell you that. There were many times, many looks where he would check it like mid-cadence. When Will's mid-cadence, he no, we're going over here now. And then they would bring a rifle or blitz to where he checked it, and we would pick it up. So Seth knows what's going on all the time. And he's a guy who's organization would be lucky to have, because I know that our success, even when he unfortunately did get hurt around week 10, he was still in the building. He was, he didn't go outside to outside practices because it was cold as ice. But when he was always in the meeting rooms, he was always in the indoor practice field, making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure we all had that same mentality coming into games. And I feel like we wouldn't have been where we are now without Seth McLaughlin.
Donovan, you formally met with the Kansas City Chiefs, and what would it be like to potentially block for Patrick Mahomes?
I have not formally met with them.
Donovan, you mentioned how, as a team, you guys were motivated by a lot of that doubt. On a more personal level, how do you keep yourself motivated?
I keep myself motivated by just chasing perfection. That's just one of the things I try to grow from. You're never perfect, and no matter how good you play, you're never perfect. So I go in thinking, how can I get myself 1% better than I was yesterday? And if you just have that mindset, have that will, then you will progress. Football's not a stagnant game. Guys improve, defenses evolve, schemes evolve. So you have no choice but to get better, or you're going to get left behind.
Donovan, can you talk about your nutrition, being able to keep your weight?
Yeah, I've never had a problem with my weight. I've as our nutritionist says, hey, or our strength coach says, hey, we need you to go up 5 pounds. I go up healthily. Or when I think at the beginning of the year I was around 320 to 325, and after the Penn State game, Coach Day was like, hey, how about you lose a few pounds? So I went down to 315 then. So I've never had a problem with my weight, whether it be too light or too heavy.
Thanks, Donovan.